What can we help you with?
Well, I'm kind of, I guess I want to ask you about, I haven't really started my business. I have one client.
You have started your business.
Yeah. You are running your business.
Yeah. Well, I started out with, so I quit my job in March.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, it was very, just, I needed to. And what I did previously is I worked for a nonprofit for almost 15 years. I ran a digital team. I did the writing, I did graphics, I did tech, I did social media, I did everything. So I'm trying to figure out, so I have this one client right now. And I'm trying to figure out, and I should say, and I'm not putting that much effort into it because at the end of the month, I'm walking the Camino.
Good for you.
So I
always wanted to do that.
No, it took me a second to remember what that was. And then, that's super cool. Good for you.
That's super exciting.
Yeah.
Oh,
So
wow.
I'm doing the 500 miles and everything. And then after that, my plan is I'm going to go over to Porto and sit down in a shared workspace and work really hard for a month. Come back here.
Need someone to come with you?
Sure. Come back here and then I'll apply for D7 visa and hopefully have a freelancing business from Portugal. But I'm trying to figure out what I end up doing is a lot of content writing sometimes, even though I've done like funnels and stuff like this for this one client. I've helped people with marketing strategies so far. I don't have a website or anything. It's mostly just word of mouth. Like people have contacted me and say, hey, so I have one contract right now for $700 a month. I do not think I'm charging enough though.
Probably not.
Yeah. What are you doing every month within that?
So her newsletter, a blog post.
Okay.
And then I can't help myself. I'm doing her graphics.
Okay. If you want, I mean, if you enjoy it.
Yeah. I mean, I just want things to look good.
Yeah.
So like, I know what I want more than somebody else does.
Yeah.
So when my question is on something like that, where, I mean, for the newsletter, I did a content piece where they're launching a functional nutrition program. I'm working, that's right now, this is kind of new for me because I worked on hunger and poverty nonprofit for so long. And so now it's a therapist. So I'm trying to, I'm learning, kind of learning and digging in. So like, if it's a newsletter, it really needs a lead story, not just one blog post. So, their marketing, I did a marketing series for them and it didn't really hit because their website's a mess, but I can't just do that for free. Although I want to.
No.
Really, really, really want to. So I'm going to talk her into paying for that at some point. But the funnel didn't hit because the landing page in part is just wrong. And so I wrote a story, and I also don't think that I didn't use what you guys gave me in the teaching thing, the creative brief. So that's what's great about this client. I'm struggling through figuring out what I need to know before I do something like that. And what I didn't really know was I didn't have her answer the two questions that I would have had. Why go to a functional nutritionist when you're already getting therapy? And why spend money on that if you've been to a nutritionist before and they just give you a diet and you don't follow it? So I tried to use like Oprah, since Oprah is a good story thing, and then wrote a little article to try to explain that. So that's my lead story. Like this section, I'm only charging $400 for. Like one, what do you charge for newsletters? That's my one question. And number two question is, when I go to really start my business and I have all these skills, but I know you guys say stick to just copywriting. Like my thing would be, I'd rather not do social media so much anymore, but my
Get rid of it.
my previous job title was senior manager for digital campaigns.
Mm-hmm.
So I know campaigns really well. And if somebody put together a campaign, I could offer strategies and stuff like that. So my other question is like, knowing my background, like kind of, do you have advice for me on how to focus a business and how to get it really started? So, and then the pricing piece.
Yeah. So pricing first, because that's
easy, straightforward.
That's a quick one.
Easy.
Yeah. It's basically, I mean, you've been through the how to price your services course, right? And you've done this for
that one. I think I may have skipped that one.
Okay, time to go back and do that one, because that's going to answer a lot of your questions. But you know how long it's taking you to do these each month. So work backwards. Go, this is what I want to be making an hour. This is how long it's taking me. Probably add in a little bit buffer if there's any kinds of revisions, that kind of thing. But that is what you should be charging. There's no one answer for email should be that, you know, this, you have done,
every newsletter is so different.
Exactly.
Yeah. Some newsletters are beefy like yours.
Yeah.
Exactly. So it's going to differ depending on each project, on each client, all that kind of thing. But when you take the time beforehand to go, okay, this is how long I'm estimating it's going to take me. This is what I want to make per hour. Then you can figure out what you're willing to charge for a project price that's reasonable for you and reasonable for your client. But definitely go back and look at the price your services course.
Yeah. And even as you do project pricing, because I fell into this trap where it's so easy to be like, oh, it's project pricing. I'm not even going to time goes on and clients add things or things take longer for whatever reason. So always be timing it. So, you know, okay, it's time to bump up my rate, or, oh, that buffer room that I added, it needs a little more buffer room because some months, you know, things happen. You don't want to shortchange yourself, especially even if they don't need revisions. You're still factoring in revision time, because if you knock it out of the park first round, good for you. You shouldn't be punished for knocking out of the park first round.
Exactly.
So yeah, definitely, even as you set your project prices, always be monitoring them so that you can, when the time comes,
adjust,
bump them up. Yeah, exactly.
And then when it comes to the kinds of work you want to do and the kinds of projects you want to do, the great news is you get to decide. Right now, you've been doing blog work and you're worried about doing social media because you're only working with referrals and word of mouth. So you're in a place of like, well, I have to take what they offer me because otherwise I don't have income coming in, right?
Yeah, kind of. I saved up a lot to be able to do this
which
thing.
Is awesome. Which is awesome. But I mean, like, just in terms of client work. Whereas when you start to think about outreach, and if you haven't yet watched Pitchapalooza and the client pitching masterclass, then instead of waiting for clients to come to you, you are in charge of finding what kinds of clients you'd like to work with, what kinds of projects you would like to work with. And you then too can be in charge of, oh, you know what? I've got a trip coming up. So I'm going to dial down that outreach, or, ooh, I'm just finished up with the trip. I'm going to dial that outreach out like crazy because I want some clients in. But I would really focus on, you know, you have a marketing background, marketing expertise. And so you need to start using that to think about yourself, right? Like you need a website. Let's say, right, if someone came to you and they said, I'm interested in being your copywriter. In your previous job, if you'd said, okay, show me your website, and they said, I don't have one, you would have said, come back to me when you have a website, right? Yeah. And I don't mean that in a like, it's just your next step.
Down. I know how to do it. I mean,
you do.
You will,
before, so
and take a look at the how to build your portfolio site course as well, because it's going to be slightly different, and so many portfolio reviews in the coaching call recordings. So take a look at those too. Very, very helpful. Yeah. Yeah. But
in terms of, I know you mentioned combining, so like, especially when it comes to design and copy, I feel like we typically tell people not to, because most of us aren't good at both. Most of us, you know, can write and we can't. If you can do both and you're like, I know I'm good at it and I know my clients love my work and you want to do it, then, but if you also don't, like, that's okay too, you know.
And I don't do logos, but I've done like email banners or social graphics. I can even do videos. I've made a small 7-minute documentary for work. That was part of the problem though, is that I work for a nonprofit and I work.
You had to do everything. Yeah.
I would stick with where your expertise is. If you're like, if you don't want to do social, then don't offer to do social graphics, right? Stay focused on what it is that you want to be doing. And the thing is too, is when you sit down and talk to a client and you say, I was thinking about this for your business. What have you been interested in? They'll talk about more projects. And as you're talking, you may hear them say, we also don't have anybody to build out our funnel. And you can say, I don't usually do this, but I could price out building out this funnel for you as well, if that's something that you're interested in. Go in with a focus. And then from there, and once you have a relationship with the client, then you can talk about adding additional projects and additional expertise. The risk we run when we go into a client and say, we can do all the things, is the client gets overwhelmed. Exactly.
Yeah.
And then they go, what? Yeah.
Are you actually good at any of them?
Exactly.
Yeah. Are you okay at all of them?
Or are you just desperate for work, right?
That too. Yeah.
But when you come in and say, this is what I can do. Yes. Well, and that's another thing too, is that you do have that expertise in nonprofits. So one place to start pitching and we know they don't tend to have huge budgets, but if you're like, I'm going to ease into pitching, pitch nonprofits with pitch all kinds of businesses. But, if you're doing a week full of pitching, maybe Monday is nonprofits, Tuesday is, I don't know, software, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
It comes on the same thing as like you're doing good for people.
Yes. Well, and even just in terms of your nonprofit expertise, there's so many, we're just talking about this, Kate, so many software programs that only work with nonprofits, and your nonprofit expertise would be beneficial for them as well. And so there's so many different, once you start kind of opening
veterinarians, I see your cat switch.
Be there.
Super cute.
Yeah, boy, do most of their websites need help.
Yeah,
I can get money back from those sorts of people because they've taken most of mine.
I had a $400 vet bill the other day. I hear you. And I should pitch them because, to Nicki's point, their website is real bad. It's
there you go.
Stuck in the 90s.
Terrible. Yeah. But it's you have, but basically the good news is the world is your oyster.
Right.
You are in, you are in a very, very good position to hit the ground running. You already have a strong background and good understanding.
Yeah. Do you know for your trip, do you have a set time that you're completing the walk-in, or?
Well, it's going to take as long as it takes.
Okay.
So I'm hoping like 40 days. I've been training 2.5 hours every day this last month. I hit Madrid on the 28th, gonna climatize. And then I'm starting from St. John and I'm doing the full 500. And I don't care if it takes me 3 months. I set my ticket for about that long.
Yeah.
I'm hoping it takes less. And then I can go over to Porto, hit a working space, get to know some people, and then like say, okay, I want to live here and stuff like that. So
the reason I asked, I was going to say, it was like, you could start pitching now if it was like a month, because the time limit, but that's why I asked though.
I'm taking my iPad and I'm going to take care of my one client because she is my one client.
Yeah.
And I do think like later on, I don't think I'll say, hey, I'm doing more work for you. You're going to have to pay me more. I'll do that like after I get a few of these out and get her in a rhythm.
Yeah.
And she realizes what
the value.
Good.
Yeah. Well, and there are all kinds of resources about how to talk about raising your rates. But yeah, if I were you, is it the 28th of August that you're leaving?
I'm so excited. I'm so jealous. I'm so happy for you.
My goal would be to get my website up, because that's a concrete, like, check that off the list. Definitely watch the how to build your website course, and then definitely watch some of the coaching call recording. I think we have the timestamps because it's just so helpful to see what someone else, the changes that we suggest for someone else is almost always we'll learn something. And then if you have time, watch some of the pitching and maybe start practicing pitching.
Mhm.
You don't even have to send them, but find
That's
a
true. You
company
can have them
that
ready
you
to
would
go. Yeah.
find a company you thought, oh, if I were to pitch this company based on what I've learned in the Pitchapalooza and the pitching masterclass, how would I do it? And then you might even have time to post them in the Facebook group, get feedback. Maybe there's even a coaching call, but I know there's coaching calls before you go to get feedback. And that way you are really ready to go, so that when you touch down in Porto, you are ready to start sending those pitches.
Yeah.
That is what I would do.
That's
I know you have
good
a lot
advice,
coming up. That's what I would do if I were you. But I think
I'm so skinny and in good shape then. So.
Right, then just get new pictures.
You look great
taken.
already.
Yeah, you look fabulous, but I know, I hear you, like, oh, right. And you're going to be tanned and like,
you're going to feel like strong. Like I can walk 500 miles. Yeah.
No, that's what I thought. I told my friend, I was like, I want on my gravesite to say, I walk 500, and there to be a little push button that has that song. I walk 500 miles.
I love it.
That's amazing. That's amazing. Well, excellent. Did this help? Do you feel like you have a good path forward?
Yeah. No, I mean, I think I've been, I should say I joined a while ago because I knew I needed community to do this. And so I've kind of been playing with you guys a little bit and jumping on here and there. But it does help, and everything I've learned from the copy helps, and it's the community too. You guys are amazing. So
well, it's because of you, all of that.
Yeah, we have an amazing group of people in the CCA. Yeah.
All right, guys.
Super.
Thank you so much.
You are so welcome. Thanks, Robin. Like what you heard? Hit subscribe so you never miss a video. And if you're ready to take the first step toward becoming a copywriter yourself, sign up for a free video training right here.